Hello class and welcome to week 12 and welcome to my office. I think this is one of the first times I've actually recorded a video for this class while sitting in my office. And for those of you that I have seen around the building this week, so this would be your week 11 when you're watching it in week 12, it was good to see everybody. But here I wanted to just point out some things about week 12. It's a little bit of a different week because you're going to be going back into that cursor module and finishing it out and also being introduced to your final projects for the semester. So you'll see down here your week 12 requirements, which are to finish module 17, the cursors module. And I'm going to go and open up this one. And here you are. Here's your module 17. What you accomplished under week 11 was sitting up here. So I went ahead and put in some text headers. So this is everything. You look at that long list of stuff that you accomplished last week in week 11. So I've now put in a text header here for week 12. So you're going to come back into the same module, start at 17.9, which is your insert cursor. And I'll have a separate video that walks you through what there is in here for the rest of this particular module. And then you're going to have the M done again. So you're going to have your little dancing snake there at the end as well. And you know what? I've changed my mind. I'm not going to have a separate video. I'm just going to take care of all of this right here in this one video so you can see everything in one video that you need to accomplish this week. So let's just talk about insert cursor a little bit. So the content for insert cursor is going to feel very similar to the content for update cursor and search cursor. So you're going to have a landing page here that gives you a brief background on what insert cursor is, a video to watch that is the explanation of what insert cursor is within the larger context of cursors. It is a good idea right now to read chapter 9 of your textbook. For the cursors module, which is really chapter 8 and chapter 9 in your textbook, I'm not going to require that you go through his exercises. However, they are a good idea if you want to take this a little bit further or learn slightly different ways of working with cursors. He works with cursors a little bit differently than I do. And that's totally fine. You've probably figured out by now that when it comes to programming, there's lots of different ways to get to the same result. So I'm going to post at the end of all of this the information, the data that's needed, and the PDF that's needed for you to walk through his chapter 8 exercise and his chapter 9 exercise. But it's not required for this class. But I want you to have it by virtue of being in the class and owning the textbook. I want you to have those resources. So those will be available for you totally on your own, not associated with the class. Then you're going to have an insert cursor activity. So this activity is one long activity. You are going to write the script that you have seen in the video here, and you're going to start at the very beginning and work all the way through the process. So what you're going to be doing here is you're going to be taking data that's in a standalone CSV file and create a new point feature class that represents what is a subset of wildland fires in the United States from 2018 from the National Interagency Fire Council. So it's just data that I downloaded from there in a CSV format and have handed off to you for use in this activity. So you're going to see here, you're going to step through very similar to what you have experienced before. You're going to have a couple of places where I tell you to save and run your script so that you can make sure things are going smoothly and you can see what's happening up to that point. So that's the activity that you're going to go through. And you're going to get all the way down to being able to put the data you create in your script into ArcPro. You are then going to turn in the things that you worked very hard on creating in that activity. And then you're going to move on to the insert cursor assignment. And this is going to be, I'm going to give you a text file. So text files and CSV files, as long as they are comma delimited and have the fields that you need, most importantly, fields that have the geometry coordinates for you, you use text files the same way as you would use CSV files. For this assignment, you are going to take a list of Wi-Fi hotspots. So those of you who have been through Geo 442 and 542, you will recognize this particular text file from your first web mapping exercise where you take that text file and create a map on the fly with it. Well, here you're going to create a GIS data set with that text file. So you need to make sure to download that text file. That's the only data you need. And then your assignment details are listed down here and what you turn in. Take note that I am asking you to turn in your file geodatabase, because you will create a file geodatabase and create data inside of it within the course of your script. And I'm asking you to turn in a screenshot of ArcPro, per usual, just making sure that I can see your named user login there. So this is a bit unique in that I'm asking you to actually turn in your data set. And in order to load file geodatabases into Canvas, you have to zip them, and then Canvas will accept them. So that's what you'll need to do for that. And then finally, there is a challenge step to this module. The challenge step is required for graduate students and optional for extra credit for undergraduates. So you can read about the grading up there. The challenge step details, this is actually a really fun challenge. I like when students do this because the results are so fun. So the challenge here is that you have to update the name of Starbucks in your Wi-Fi hotspot. So some of the hotspots in Manhattan are at a Starbucks, and the scenario here is that you have bought Starbucks and you've renamed it to whatever store name you want. So you need to go into this data and you need to update all of the fields that have Starbucks under the name, and you need to put in your own name in that field. So you have all of the skills necessary to do this. It's about going back and revisiting a cursor that we used before Insert Cursor. So if you want to take on that challenge, here are the details. Some hints here are asking yourself what type of cursor allows for records to have values changed. How are where clauses written within ArcPy tools, harkening back to your SQL where clauses? And then what will be the new store name? What are you going to name your store now that you've bought Starbucks? So here's what you're going to turn in: a script, the output image, and then a screenshot from ArcPro, what you will turn in for that particular challenge step. And then you will be landing on, he's going to show up here, your M done, and I just named it again because you're seeing your snake again for that round. All right, so that's what you're going to work through in Module 17 to finish up cursors. The other thing here is that you are going to be introduced to your final project this week. This week is just about reading about the final project, and for graduate students and those who want to propose their own project, thinking about what they want to do and writing up a short paragraph about that and turning it in by the end of the week. So the due date quick look up here is that in week 12, write and turn in your project proposal. Week 13, decide on a pathway, and we'll talk about that. In the last 2 weeks of the semester is when you're going to execute your project, and during finals week, on that Tuesday of finals week, is when you will turn in your final project. So the final project for this course is going to be your final exam. You will have no other exam for this course. And in weeks 14 and 15, you will have no additional course content. Week 13 will be your last week of new content in this course. For your final project, you can go multiple pathways. So you can choose 2 pathways. You can either create your own final project or complete the instructor provided one. Graduate students are required to at least submit a proposal for the Create Your Own pathway. Undergraduates are not required to, but are encouraged. But take heart that even if you create your own and you propose one, and at the end, like at the beginning of week 14, you decide, no, I just want to do the instructor provided one, that's fine. Both graduate students and undergraduate students can choose the instructor provided pathway, but graduate students must first do the pathway number 1 of doing the proposal for your own in order to gain access to the instructor provided. Proposals are due by Friday, April 16th. I will provide feedback probably before the 23rd because I'd like for you to make your choices before that if possible. You then need to make your final choice on how you want to move forward by Monday, April 26th at the latest. So here's some more details on these pathways. For grad students, you have to propose a project. Undergraduates, you are not required, but you're encouraged to do so. Proposals are due on Friday, and here are some details about what you need to turn in with the proposal. It really can be as you know, it doesn't need to be well thought out. It can just be kind of an idea, and then we'll circle back and we can flesh it out. I can help you find data. I can help you maybe structure a workflow of your own project. Obviously, I will not help you write your script, but you'll have the ability to ask a little bit more questions if you propose your own. And then project pathway 2 is where you will just complete the instructor provided final project script. You will each get a unique set of data in order to work on this project, and you will get that data attached to a quiz where you make that final choice. So what's next? You need to make sure that you turn in your project proposals via Canvas by the 16th. You will make your final selection choice by doing, it's a quiz, but really it's a form where you just select my own or your or instructor provided, and then your final projects are due Tuesday, May 11th. Now it is on this quiz where I will reply back to you in the comments. I will attach the data that you need. If you choose the instructor provided option, I will attach the data that you need in order to move forward with your personal final project. And then you can come down here and just click next. You can click on those links or you can click next. Here's the final project proposal turn in. Here's the project selection choice quiz, and if I preview it here, you can see that I just ask you to answer one question. I choose to do my own project. I choose to do the instructor provided project, and that is the end of that. So I am going to go back and get out of this view. Here we go. And then after that, it's going to be the final project details, which will not roll out until the beginning of week 14. So if you have any questions about that process, you can reach out to me. Do know that when it comes to these final projects, I am not going to be readily available to answer a lot of questions. I want you guys, you have all the skills necessary to work on these and complete these final projects moving forward. I'm okay with you asking questions of each other. Many of you have made connections throughout the semester, and that's great. You can ask each other some questions. You can reach out to me and ask a question, but I will respond back to you whether or not I can answer it without docking points, or if in order to answer it, I have to take away some points, because I don't want to be giving you guys the answers essentially for your final. Now, I will say that if you are stuck, it is well worth it to ask me a question, have a few points taken off of the final 100 that it's worth, and be able to move forward successfully with the rest of the project, than to hit a spot and not be able to move forward and lose tons of points because you cannot finish the project. So that goes for everyone. So people who are working in, asking questions for a group of people, you just need to be honest and tell me who all you're asking for. But and this goes for Abby as well. Abby will not be available to answer questions on the final project. This is something that you've worked hard up to now. You have the skills necessary to complete the final project. So that's your week 13 and your brief introduction to the final project. Or excuse me, your week 12. We will talk more about the final project in week 13 again when it comes to different things being due and different things rolling out. So as always, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask, and I look forward to hearing from you.